Well, Luke, let's talk about Dan Gosling, shall we? New signing. How pleased were you to get that over the line on a short term deal?
Yeah, that was really great. I think to get that bit of business done. Now we have a player with great quality, great experience, and we just we need to try to be responsible about how we get him up to speed and on the pitch.
How important is the experience he brings in as well? When you're wanting somebody perhaps to, I don't know whether you want needing him to hit the ground running as such because he's coming back from injury as well, but you're wanting somebody to go in, I'm sure, immediately and play a part. And he's got that experience, hundreds of games.
Yeah, that's right, and I think it's worth noting that you give your experience is passed on to people even when you're training, when you're preparing for the game and in the changing rooms and or throughout the whole event, everything that we do, that experience will help people around him. And then of course, ultimately when he gets on the pitch, I think very often we've been lining up with like maybe 7, 8, on some occasions 9 players that were playing National League football last season brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly, but still there is a difference in the level. And as I've said before, there's a period of adjustment to that. But bringing a player that's been, his last action was of a much higher level. I think that's. I don't think he's ever played lower than the Championship. So, he's got a wealth of experience and quality, and I think that's something that we can use to our advantage.
Yeah, you do say that you've got a number of players who played in the National League last year, but what you do also have in your squad now is a number of players who have in their careers played much higher. And how much does that help? Dan Crowley's played Championship. Obviously, we know about John Bostock, Jody Jones, the same. There's a few there now, which has now been added to, of players who have at least had that experience of playing much higher.
No, absolutely. I think also that the game moves on, and if you're outside a level for a period of time. If you were playing National League football 5 years ago and then you played National League football last season, I think you'd have noticed a huge change in the level. And so the levels change, and if you're not there, things move on. And but I totally agree with what you're saying. I've got no doubt we have some real quality and experience in the squad, absolutely. But yeah, as a group, the way that we play football as a group. We became accustomed to playing football in a certain rhythm last season, and we have to then get used to playing that same style, at League Two level. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. But I just think that that's the reality, and it may be something that is worth mentioning to give a little bit more, depth to the season and how we're doing.
As for Dan Gosling, it's not very often that you can pick up a player with that amount of experience in the Premier League just available mid-season and even out of a transfer window. I mean, it's a heck of a coup, isn't it, for any club to pick up, really?
Yeah, definitely. And I think if Dan hadn't suffered a setback with injuries, it would be completely unachievable. But thankfully that for us that he's on the road to recovery and it doesn't have. Listen, he has plenty of suitors, but we were in the hat, of options that he had, and we're just very very pleased that he chose to come and join us. So very very pleased with that. But yeah, we've got no doubt the quality and the experience of top football that he has.
Where is he then in terms of his fitness and in terms of what you would ask from him over the next couple of months? Because as you say, hasn't played for 12 months.
Yeah, we need to monitor every day how he is and how his body's reacting, and we have some good tools to do that, and most importantly, we have the good staff that know what they're looking at, and also they'll be able to see things that aren't shown up on the data because of their experience as well as staff. They'll be able to identify when he's not moving as comfortable and as freely and so on, and we use all that information to try and work out the best pathway forward for him. But he'll get to the conditioning that he needs as quick as it can be done because he'll apply himself properly because he's a top professional. And then we just have to be really on, eye on the ball and really present and make sure that we're not putting him into a vulnerable position too early, and then we're gonna have a brilliant player on our hands.
Yeah, well, you do have a good track record for that. We spoke a few weeks back, didn't we, about Jody Jones and John Bostock and the impact that it's had on them and how they're loving their football and loving life now, and the benefits that you get out of that as a football club as well. Have you got kind of one eye on that and one, thinking, well, if we can do the same here, then we might have another heck of a player on our hands if then it happens beyond January.
Yeah, that's my way, is to look, when you're head coach and you have players available to you that the quality they have, there's emotionally you want to put those players in the frame as quickly as you possibly can, but I try to take the emotion out of it and try and look at the big picture rather than the short term, and I don't want to put guys at risk, and I don't want them to go on the pitch and have a bad feeling because they got out there too early. And so I try to make my planning and my preparation when I'm calm. I think anyone who's seen me on the touchline pacing up and down like a lunatic, that's not a great time for me to make big calls and big decisions. So I try to make all of those logical decisions in a much calmer frame of mind. And I think it's fair to say that that's worked for the group in the past, and I should continue to do that. And I shan't be taking shortcuts with Dan Gosling, that's for sure.
Yeah, people will say he's been brought in because Matty Palmer's out injured at the moment, but from what I've seen of Dan Gosling, very different kind of player, a bit more box to box. Would you say that he's not a direct replacement in that sense?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question, and I think we have to make sure that we don't have a mindset, inside the club, outside the club, everyone. We don't have a mindset that we're trying to find, the clone of Matty. Matty is a terrific player that became, part of the furniture because I picked him every week because he's a brilliant footballer, and although he's injured, and this sounds mad, but he's incredibly robust, and he can produce the same level of performance week in, week out, and that's a huge tool for the head coach because you know what you're going to get, and it's not going to dip below a certain level, and that was an incredible thing. We've lost that for the time being. And now we bring in a guy that is going to show us a different way to play the role. It's going to be, it's going to be equally as impressive, and we will all be lording over his performances, and we'll have an image in our mind of what Dan Gosling looks like wearing the stripes, and how brilliant he is, and how he does this and how he does that, which is going to be individual to him. And that's a beautiful thing about football, but we have a structure and a system, and he will understand that more and more, and he will try to deliver the type of actions that we want delivered on the pitch. But he will do things in a more his individual way, be his own quirks, his own styles, and we'll learn to love that. And look, we all can't wait to have Matty Palmer back as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are both in the same team doing their individual bits in a Notts County style, and that's a great thing. But yeah, we're not trying to find the exact replacement. We're trying to find the type of quality, the type of personality that we think will work well in the way that we work day to day. And Dan Gosling was the answer for that.
It's a signing that's very much excited the fans, and I wonder as well what it does for a set of players when everybody likes to be part of a football club that's going somewhere, that's got ambition, and then when you get a player through the door, they go, hang on a minute, I was watching you on Match of the Day not that long ago. It must say something, do something to the mood of a camp of players that they think, yeah, this football club's signing players of that calibre. What does that do?
Yeah, agreed. I think that this is a boost, and I want to backtrack to a statement that you made to me, which I really liked. That look, you've got players that have played at a really high level in your squad, and I know a lot of them will play in National League and that, and I want to sort of elaborate on that because you've given me a great opportunity to do that. But I think the reality is that one or two players, more than one or two, a number of our players hadn't played league football before, and they're doing a very, very good job. But for them to see somebody come in the door like Dan Gosling is a similar effect when Didsey arrives, when John Bostock give everyone a boost when he came in, Jody gives everyone a boost, because they know, okay, these players are coming in, they have real quality and experience, and we can see the statement and the direction that we're going in. And I think you're absolutely spot on. He's going to give a boost to players that are making their first appearances in league football, and like I said, they're doing a very good job and they're finding their feet, and now they're thinking, okay, I'm here now. I'm playing well in League Two. I'm getting up to the level. When you think about the start of the season, the opening game, how far off the mark we were, and that same group of players have stood up to the challenge and made some really impressive performance and got good points on the board. And now they think, okay, we've got reinforcements, because all the players in the change room, I don't care what they say, when they learnt that Matt Palmer was not going to be with us for the rest of the season on the pitch, that was a blow for them, for all of us, I've got no doubt. And so then you see this really forward-thinking, proactive football club sign Dan Gosling. You go, oh, okay, we're trying to move on. So yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. Well, you gave me the opportunity to explain what this type of signing means, what it represents, and the impact that it has, and it's positive, and positive. And I think that's it's a good place to be at the moment, to be a Notts County fan or to be involved in this club.
Just finally, game this weekend against a team mid-table last year, Crewe, but they've started really well this season, haven't they? Particularly at home.
Yeah, they're always good. I've been up against Crewe for Swindon Town so many times, for MK Dons, and now with Notts, and they're just always excellent, to be quite honest. They always get the maximum out of players. They always have a style. So I've got huge respect for that club. I don't think there are actually many clubs that stick to certain. They will always look different, because whoever is manager at the time will always have an image of them on the pitch as well. But they always have similar values to the last manager, the last head coach, and they're a really exceptional club, and I respect that so much. So we know that we are in for a really tough game, and we know they're going to pose us a lot of problems, but we love that. We fought very hard, as to get to this division, and we're gonna make the most of being here, and we're gonna stand up to be counted. We're not here for a picnic. We know we're up against a tough team every week, and we're prepared for that.
Great stuff as always, Luke. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Luke. Just a couple from me. Obviously, we were talking about those big players that have come to County now. There's obviously this sort of draw. What do you think creates that excitement and that draw to the club? And is it important to have that at a team?
Yeah, it is, and it's simple. It's the people. It's the people. Players are drawn here because they see the support, and players want to be out there in an atmosphere that makes them feel like a good player, challenges them, makes them feel alive, and that's why they're drawn here, because it's a big football club, and it has big support and passionate support, and they want to be a part of that. And I think Notts would always attract a slightly higher level of player for whatever division they're in, but I think it also helps if you have recently had some success, which we have, and so hopefully there's a good, I would say, a really good product on sale with history, with tradition, with some glamour there, and then a group of players that have already been successful there. So you want to go and join in that party. So hopefully we can continue to attract good talent, for the level and help us on our journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And we spoke about the experience that Dan brings to the team as well, but obviously he and the other players have got FA Cup experience. I think we were touching on that earlier, and winning the first round and now hopefully getting a bit of a cup run. How does that help?
That would be brilliant. I think it's something that we've not been able to give to the fans since I've been here. So that would be really special. I think, you know, we shared this brilliant experience at Wembley together, and from the feedback from the fans, I think we all pretty much enjoyed it. I think for a lot of it we felt very, very anxious, but somehow that makes the victory even sweeter. And I think, you know, it would be brilliant now to have a run and maybe, you know, a really, really exciting tie against a team from a faraway division. So yeah, I would love that for us all. I think that would be a brilliant experience.
And then just finally from me, obviously it's still a little while away that Jody goes to play for Malta, but it was obviously announced this week that he's in that team to play England. So how does that affect your thinking and yeah?
Well, yeah, it does. It does affect things, but firstly, I'm just delighted for Jody, because, you know, I think he's worked so hard from quite a dark place at times for Jody, and he's remarkable, really. The love that he has for football that just drives him to overcome all the setbacks that he's had. I admire him for that, and now he's getting to represent his country at Wembley. I mean, you know, that just is for me, it's positive feedback for Jody that you must never give up, and, you know, you overcome all the problems and you get your rewards eventually. And sometimes when you're in a bad place, it doesn't feel like you're going to get your rewards, and you keep working hard, and you don't seem to be getting closer to what you want. But now he's getting closer, so I'm disappointed because I want him with me, but I'm delighted for him, and you know, I'm giving him my full support.